Well, I think actually in Plymouth this is good news. This is big news. It's something a group of us, of MPs, have worked hard to achieve. Look, we've got to do better when it comes to historical underfunding in Plymouth. This is a step in that right direction. £110,000 as a payment to every school per pupil funding going up. One of my schools is seeing a 12.3% increase in what they're receiving from government. So look, this is good news. It's not the end state. We have further to go in the city, but this is a much better result, and it shows you what you can achieve if you work hard within government rather than sort of sounding off and trying to get in all the newspapers. If you work hard and you work hard with ministers, you know, Plymouth City Council have come up to London to meet ministers. I brought ministers down here. We've got a result. It's a start, but let's keep going.
Johnny, you were talking just now about the lobbying power of Conservative politicians. This seems to prove the opposite, doesn't it? But all of these Conservative MPs across the region all saying this is a great plan, we're behind it, we're desperately trying to persuade the government to agree to it and fund this stuff. And it's the Labour leader who says, yeah, this is sensible, you need it, we'll pay for it.
Well, I mean, if you believe a single word that comes out of Jeremy Corbyn's mouth, then I think that's what you would think. You know, by the next election, we'll probably be getting a spaceship ride to London. I mean, it's just fantasy. This government has invested in that Dawlish resilience. It's put £30 million in.
But it's not committed to these major projects which are in the...
Yeah, because of the way the funding periods work. And you know as well as I do, Martin, they're planned out years in advance. We need to work out where that study fits into that and how we actually afford to pay for it. We're not just going to go out and promise what are essentially lies to the electorate to try and get elected, which is what happened at the last election over student fees. This is another one. We will continue to work hard on this. For the first time, we've got a unified voice in the South West, and we are clear we need to see that PRTF report come through.
So this is a lie. I mean,
the difference here is that we are honest and realistic about it and what we can provide, rather than just saying things to get elected. For the last 30 years, they've tried to do the M5. And previous Labour MPs in Luke's position have said, you know, we can't achieve this, we need to do other things around that. So it really is nonsense just trying to win votes, and I think we should be a bit more honest. Likelihood. What I'm saying is that we are very clear. We want to see that PRTF report funded. That was the promise under David Cameron, where, as Bill rightly says, he said that money is no object. I'm as disappointed as everyone else, but I'm not going to play games with it by promising things that aren't going to happen. So we have seen £30 million go into Dawlish. We are getting new trains next year. I've just worked really hard to get £5 million to unlock funding down at the station. You get a new station in 2020. We are delivering changes. They are incremental. They're not fast enough, but we will keep going because the people in Plymouth deserve better, and I'll make sure we do.
It's true instance, of course, in a hospital in your constituency.
Yeah, so they've usually got 3 doctors on with those incidents. They had 2 in this occasion. There was clinical staff brought in from elsewhere. I've spoken to Anne James about it. There was no threat to public safety or health within the hospital. But clearly it highlights the challenges we have in recruiting people to Plymouth. And I would just say that if we continue to do down everything in Plymouth, as is the tactic of the Labour Party in Plymouth...
Well, let's just building affordable housing.
We're not going to get people to come to Plymouth and be part of this wonderful city. So, yes, there are challenges. There are deep challenges. But let's not pretend we don't have a world-class health system.
You do down the city.
Are you happy with nurses using food banks?
Clearly, that nurses using food banks is not something I want to see. But I would come back and say that actually
it's not uplifting.
It's not uplifting. But we have a world-class health service in Plymouth. We have a world-class hospital. Anne James does a fantastic job. And let's stop doing it down and actually face these challenges so that we can solve them for the people of Plymouth.